stood in the doorway of my old apartment, hands trembling as Victor Lorne tossed a crumpled check onto the floor between us. $3,000. My deposit. Money I desperately needed to start over after my divorce had drained every account I had. "Go ahead and sue me," he said, that smirk stretching across his face like a wound. "You can't afford a lawyer anyway." My son Milo squeezed my hand tighter. He was only 6, but he understood humiliation when he saw it. Behind Victor, my former mother-in-law whispered to her sister just loud enough for me to hear. She never should have expected better from men. The words burned themselves into my brain. Every syllable, every dismissive glance, every assumption that I was powerless. Victor crossed his arms, waiting for me to crumble, waiting for tears, waiting for me to beg. Instead, I picked up the crumpled check, smoothed it flat against my thigh, and looked him dead in the eye. "My name is Talia Wynn," I said quietly. "And actually, I am a lawyer." His smirk faltered, just for a second, but I saw it. And that's when I knew he'd just made the biggest mistake of his life. Let me take you back 4 months. Back to when I thought moving into Victor's rental property was a lifeline, not a trap. My divorce from Marcus had been brutal. Not violent, just soul-crushing in that quiet way where lawyers argue over furniture and nobody wins. I'd lost the house, most of my savings, and whatever dignity I had left after his mother spent 2 years telling everyone I wasn't good enough for her son. When my cousin Brielle offered me Victor's rental apartment at a family discount, I nearly cried with relief. $800 a month for a 2-bedroom in a decent neighborhood. Felt like mercy. I should have known better. The day I moved in, Brielle hugged me tight and whispered, "We're here for you, Talia. Family takes care of family." Victor stood behind her, arms crossed, watching movers carry my boxes up the stairs. He didn't smile, didn't offer to help, just watched like he was calculating something. That night, after Milo fell asleep in his new room, I sat on the floor surrounded by unpacked boxes and let myself cry. Not because I was sad, because I was exhausted from pretending everything was fine. Behind my back, I later learned, the family group chat was buzzing. "The lawyer who couldn't even keep her own marriage together," my aunt had typed. "At least Victor's helping her out." Helping. That's what they called it. The first red flag came 2 weeks after I moved in. I was in the middle of prepping a custody case when I heard keys jingling outside my door. Before I could stand up, Victor walked in. Just walked right in like he owned the place. Which technically he did. But that didn't give him the right to show up unannounced. "Just checking on things," he said, glancing around my living room. His eyes lingered on the coffee table, the couch, the rug. Like he was taking inventory. "You're supposed to give 24 hours notice," I said, keeping my voice calm. "Professional. It's in the lease." He shrugged. "Family doesn't need formalities, Talia." There it was again. Family. The word they used was like a shield to excuse bad behavior. "Next time please text first," I said. He smiled. Not warmly. "Sure thing." But he didn't leave right away. He stood there, looking at me like I'd just challenged him to something. Then he walked slowly toward the hallway, running his hand along the wall. "These apartments need a lot of maintenance," he said. "Single moms sometimes let things slide. No judgment. Just reality." My jaw tightened. But I didn't respond. I just watched him leave, then locked the door behind him. That night I started taking photos. Every wall, every corner, every surface. Time-stamped and saved to the cloud. Just in case. Sunday dinners at my aunt's house used to feel like home. But after the divorce, they felt more like courtrooms where I was always the defendant. I'd barely sat down when I heard my aunt's voice drifting from the kitchen. "Victor says she's already wrecking the apartment. Stains on the carpet, scratches on the walls. I told Brielle she shouldn't have vouched for her." I froze, fork halfway to my mouth. Brielle sat across from me, eyes down, pushing mashed potatoes around her plate. She didn't defend me. Didn't even look up. My uncle cleared his throat. "Well, Talia's been through a lot. Divorce does things to people. Still, my aunt continued louder now, Victor's doing her a favor. The least she could do is take care of the place. Milo tugged on my sleeve. Mama, can we go? I wanted to. God, I wanted to grab my son and walk out and never come back. But instead I smiled at him. Not yet, baby. Because leaving would've looked like guilt. And I wasn't guilty of anything. So I stayed. I listened to them talk about me like I wasn't even there. And when I got home that night, I started a new folder on my laptop. Victor Lorne evidence. I didn't know what I'd need it for yet. But I knew I would. The email arrived exactly 1 month before my lease ended. Subject: Preliminary damage assessment. I opened it with a sinking feeling in my stomach. Dear tenant, it began. Professional. Cold. Like we weren't family. Like Brielle hadn't cried on my shoulder at her wedding. The list was long, detailed, and completely fabricated. Broken blinds in the living room. I'd never touched them. Stained carpet in the hallway. The carpet was beige. Beige hides nothing. There were no stains. Odor removal required. My apartment smelled like lavender and vanilla candles. Always had. At the bottom of the email, a line in bold. Estimated deduction from security deposit, $2,800. My $3,000 deposit. The money I needed to move forward. To put down on a new place. To buy Milo new school clothes. I read the email 3 times. Then I called Brielle. Did you know about this? Yes. Silence. Brielle. Did you know Victor was planning to keep my deposit? Her voice was small. Guilty. He mentioned some wear and tear. But I didn't think. There is no wear and tear, I said, my voice sharper than I intended. Your husband is lying. Talia, please. Don't make this a thing. It's just money. Just money. Hung up. That night I pulled up my photo archive. Every single image I'd taken the day I moved in. Spotless walls. Clean carpet. Intact blinds. Seen this move before. In court. In depositions. Men like Victor always underestimated women like me. But this time I wasn't just a witness. I was a lawyer. Moving day came on a Saturday. I spent the entire morning scrubbing floors that didn't need scrubbing, wiping baseboards that were already clean, vacuuming carpets that had no stains. Milo helped me pack the last boxes. Why are we cleaning so much, Mama? Because some people look for reasons to hurt you, I said softly. And I'm not giving them any. Victor was supposed to meet me at noon for the final walkthrough. He showed up at 2:30, reeking of cologne and arrogance. He barely glanced at the apartment. Just walked through each room with his phone out, snapping pictures at random angles. Sign here, I said, holding out the move-out condition report I'd printed. He waved it away. I'll send my own assessment. The lease requires a joint inspection, I said. He smirked. Sue me. There it was. That phrase. The one he thought was a joke. I didn't argue. I just took more photos. The apartment. The unsigned form. 2 hours later I got a text. Deposit withheld. Professional cleaning required. Invoice to follow. I sat in my car, hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. Kira, my best friend, called. Let it go, Tal. It's not worth the stress. But she didn't understand. This wasn't about $3,000 anymore. This was about every man who'd ever told me I couldn't fight back. And I was done losing. I spent the next week in what I called discovery mode. Not the emotional kind. The legal kind. I started with the county property registry. Victor owned 5 rental properties. All in low-income neighborhoods. All with suspiciously high tenant turnover. Then I searched the civil court database. 3 lawsuits. All from former tenants. All settled privately before trial. Pattern. That's what we call it in family law. When someone's behavior isn't a one-time mistake. It's a strategy. I downloaded every public document I could find. Complaint filings. Settlement agreements. Property tax records. Victor wasn't just a bad landlord. He was a professional predator. And he'd been doing this for years, targeting people who couldn't afford to fight back. But I wasn't those people. Kira came over that night with wine and takeout. "You're obsessing," she said gently. "I'm preparing," I corrected. She sighed. "Talia, you're a family law attorney, not a housing lawyer. This isn't your field." I looked up from my laptop. Exploitation is exploitation. I know how to recognize it. And I know how to stop it. She didn't argue after that. Just sat beside me, scrolling through documents, highlighting names. By midnight I had a list. 4 former tenants. All women. All single mothers. All of them were too scared to speak up. Till now. The rumors started spreading faster than I expected. Sunday dinner, nobody looked at me. When I walked into the room, conversations stopped. My aunt busied herself in the kitchen. My uncle suddenly needed to check on something in the garage. Brielle finally pulled me aside. "Victor's telling people you trashed the apartment." "That's a lie." "I know," she whispered. "But people believe him." "Do you believe him?" She looked away. That was enough to answer. The worst part came 3 days later. A client called to cancel her consultation. "I heard some things," she said vaguely. "I think I'll go with someone else." My stomach dropped. Victor's gossip wasn't just family drama anymore. It was affecting my practice, my reputation, my livelihood. That night, I sat in my car outside Milo's school, waiting for pickup, and felt the weight of it all pressing down on my chest. Victor wanted me to feel small, powerless, shamed. And for a moment I almost did. But then Milo climbed into the back seat, grinning. "Mama, I got a gold star today." I looked at his face. His joy. His trust that I could handle anything. And something inside me hardened. Not with anger. With resolve. Victor had tried to destroy my reputation. Now I was going to destroy his. I found her name buried in a 3-year-old case file. Nicole Brennan. Former tenant. Sued Victor for withholding her deposit. Settled for half. Took me 2 days to track down her number. When she answered, her voice was cautious. "Who is this?" "My name is Talia Wynn. I'm a tenant of Victor Lorne's. Or I was. He kept my deposit too." Silence. "I know this is random," I continued. "But I'm building a case. And I think you might have information that could help." "I can't," she said quickly. "I signed an NDA. I'm not asking you to break it. I'm just asking you to meet me for coffee." Another pause. Then quietly. "Where?" We met at a diner on the edge of town. Nicole was younger than I expected. Mid-20s. Tired eyes. She slid into the booth across from me. Hands wrapped around a mug of coffee like it was a shield. "He did the same thing to you, didn't he?" Asked gently. She nodded. "Fake damage report. But he said if I fought him, he'd ruin me." "Did he?" "Almost." Her voice cracked. "I was a waitress. Couldn't afford a lawyer. So I settled." I slid a photo across the table. My apartment. Potless. "He's doing it again," I said. Nicole stared at the photo. Then at me. "What do you need?" "Everything you've got." Nicole handed me a USB drive. On it, photos, text messages, emails. Everything Victor had sent her. Everything she'd been too afraid to use. "He called me crazy," she said. "Told people I was on drugs. That I destroyed the place. None of it was true." I looked at the messages. The same language. The same threats. The same manipulative tactics. "This is gold," I said. She shook her head. "It didn't help me. Because you didn't have a lawyer. Now you do." I spent the next 3 days organizing everything. Timeline. Evidence. Witnesses. I built the case the way I'd build any case in family court. Methodically, ruthlessly, and with no room for doubt. By Friday I had a file 2 inches thick. Victor had no idea what was coming. But my family did. And they weren't happy about it. My aunt and Brielle showed up at my office unannounced. No appointment. No warning. Just walked past my assistant like they owned the place. We need to talk, my aunt said. Closed my laptop. Go ahead. Brielle sat down, wringing her hands. Talia, please. Don't do this. Don't do what? Defend myself. Don't embarrass the family, my aunt snapped. Victor's been good to us. He keeps us comfortable. You're going to ruin that over $3,000. I stared at her. So you knew. You knew he was stealing deposits. Brielle looked down. Guilty. Silent. He's been doing this for years, I said quietly. And you all protected him. He's family, my aunt said. So am I. But even as I said it, I knew the truth. I'd never been family to them. It was convenient. Cautionary tale. The woman who couldn't keep her husband. They left without another word. And I went back to work. I drafted the lawsuit on a Tuesday night. Every clause is perfect. Every citation is accurate. Every photo time-stamped and labeled. But I didn't file it. Not yet. Instead, I sent Victor a letter. Professional. Emotionless. No threats. No anger. Just facts. Dear Mr. Lorne, enclosed you will find photographic evidence, tenant testimonies, and a timeline documenting fraudulent withholding of security deposits across 5 properties. You have 72 hours to return my deposit in full or face legal action. Sincerely, Talia Wynne Yescu. I sent it certified mail. Signature required. The next day he replied. Arrogant. Dismissive. You're bluffing. See you in court. Smiled. You'll be served by Wednesday, I replied. That night I filed the complaint. And the subpoena for his tenant records. Victor's next email arrived at 2:47 a.m. Talia, let's talk about this. I'm sure we can work something out. I didn't reply. By noon he'd sent 3 more. Each one more desperate than the last. This is unnecessary. You're overreacting. Please call me. I blocked his number. Then I contacted his business partners. Professional. Polite. Just letting them know about the pending litigation. By Friday his lawyer called. Ms. Wynne, my client is willing to negotiate. Tell your client I'm not. This could get ugly. It already is. I'm just making it public. Hung up. That weekend the subpoena was served. Victor's tenant records. 5 years worth. And I finally had the smoking gun. The family group chat exploded. Why is Talia doing this? Victor's panicking. This is so embarrassing. She's being selfish. Nobody asked if Victor was guilty. Nobody asked if I was okay. They just blamed me for causing drama. Brielle called crying. His business partners are nervous. He might lose everything. Good, I said. Talia, please. He stole from people, Brielle. Women. Single mothers. People who couldn't fight back. But he's family. And what am I? Silence. Hung up. For the first time in months I felt calm. The storm wasn't hurting me anymore. It was working in my favor. I walked into the courthouse on a Thursday morning. Heels. Blazer. At high. The clerk smiled when I handed her the filing. Small claims, she asked. And fraud, I said. Multiple counts. Her eyebrows lifted. This is going to be interesting. It wasn't just about my deposit anymore. The subpoena had revealed everything. Fake invoices. Forged signatures. Deposits stolen from tenants who'd moved out years ago. Victor wasn't just unethical. He was a criminal. I filed the civil suit. Then I walked 2 blocks to the district attorney's office. And I filed a formal complaint for fraud. By lunchtime, Victor's lawyer was blowing up my phone. I let it ring. Victor tried to fight back the only way he knew how. Online. He posted on Facebook. On Nextdoor. On every neighborhood group he could find. Talia Wynne is an unstable single mother trying to ruin my business over a petty dispute. The comments started pouring in. But they weren't what he expected. Victor kept my deposit too. He did the same thing to my sister. I knew he was shady. Within hours, the thread had turned into a testimony session. Tenant after tenant sharing their stories. Screenshots, invoices, proof. Victor's smear campaign had backfired spectacularly. And I hadn't said a single word. I sat in my car that night staring at my phone. The post had gone viral. Not just locally. People across the state were sharing it. I recorded a video. Nothing fancy. Just me. Tired. Honest. Ever been told you can't afford justice? Asked the camera. That's what my landlord said to me. And I believed him for a second. But then I remembered something. Justice isn't about money. It's about knowing your worth. Posted it. Went to bed. Forgot about it. By morning it had 50,000 views. By the afternoon 100,000. Comments flooded in. Women sharing their stories. Single mothers. Tenants. Survivors. This happened to me. Thank you for speaking up. You're my hero. I wasn't trying to be anyone's hero. I just wanted my deposit back. But somehow this had become bigger than me. My aunt's house became a war zone. Victor was under investigation by the housing authority. The DA's office had opened a formal case. His business partners were distancing themselves. Brielle finally called me, her voice broken. He's been pocketing deposits for years. He knew. I didn't think it mattered. My heart cracked. Not with pity. With grief. It mattered to me, I said quietly. I'm sorry. I know. But sorry didn't undo the damage. And it didn't stop what was coming next. Victor's lawyer made one last attempt. Ms. Wynne, my client is prepared to return your deposit in full, plus interest, and issue a public apology. All we ask is that you drop the fraud investigation. I didn't even hesitate. No, Ms. Wynne. This was never about the money. It's about accountability. You're going to destroy him. No, I said. He destroyed himself. I'm just making sure everyone knows it. Hung up. Trial date was set. The courtroom was packed. Victor sat at the defendant's table, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. His lawyer whispered urgently in his ear. I sat alone. Prepared. When the judge entered, I stood. Confidence. Ready. Victor tried to play the victim. I tried to claim I was bitter, vindictive, unstable. But I had evidence. Photos. Testimonies. Bank records. I dismantled every lie with precision. When the judge finally spoke, the room went silent. Mr. Lorne, your behavior demonstrates a clear pattern of deception and exploitation. I'm ruling in favor of the plaintiff. You will return the full deposit, pay damages, and face additional penalties. Victor slumped in his chair. Understood. I walked out. Didn't look back. Reporters waited outside. Ms. Wynne, any comment? Pause. Smile. Justice is affordable when you know your worth. The clip went viral by evening. Within weeks, Victor lost 2 rental licenses. Tenants filed for refunds. His business partner dissolved their LLC. My family tried to distance themselves. But the internet never forgets. Came to my new apartment. Broken. Shame. He's leaving. We're ruined. I listened. Didn't gloat. Just nodded. I warned you, I said softly. She cried. I didn't. Months later, I moved into a townhouse. My name on the deed. Milo hung a sign. Wynne and Associates. My new firm. Tenant rights. Recovery cases. Finally peace. A woman walked into my office crying. My landlord kept my deposit. He said to sue him. Smiled. I opened my legal pad. Let's show him what happens when you tell a woman she can't afford justice. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and share your story in the comments. Your voice matters.